Today, financial markets are trading cautiously in light of the coronavirus news. At last, investors turned attention to a surge in the infection rates in the US. Now, they fear that the US authorities could reimpose lockdown. In this context, the US dollar halted its nosedive, so dollar bears are in the wait-and-see mood. The coronavirus rates jumped 25% in several American states last week. The US virus experts are braced for the second coronavirus wave in the autumn. Record high infection rates and the death roll are posted in other countries. Mexico and India are included. Investors have nothing to do but respond to such information background. Meanwhile, the rally of stock indices is subdued by disagreements between the US and Europe. Washington is considering new tariffs on consumer goods from France, Germany, Spain and the UK worth $3.1 billion. Futures on the Dow Jones accelerated its decline in the New York trade, having shed 1%. The index fell to 25,852. The S&P 500 is 0.6% down to trade at 3,101.38. Risk aversion boosted demand for the US currency. Its index is trading marginally higher today. Despite the recent drop, it's on track to close this week with gains. In the New York trade, the index rose 0.25% to trade at 96.90. The risk of the second pandemic wave could remind traders of the time-proven strategy. They could decide to search shelter for their savings, opting for the US dollar. Interestingly, demand for safe haven assets could remain buoyant despite softer and less painful lockdown measures than those imposed in April. Nevertheless, the US dollar spike today could be short-lived. The greenback is set to trade under pressure in the mid-term. The Canadian dollar is flexing muscles amid the rally of oil prices and weakness of its American rival. However, the loonie lost some of its gains due to the threats from the US. The White House declared the intention to introduce a 10% tariff on aluminium imports from Canada by the end of the week, unless its neighbor settles the problem on its own. In other words, Canada is expected to cut its export volumes voluntarily. The dollar versus the loonie pair is trading slightly high on Wednesday amid a correctional decline of oil prices and the broad-based advance of the US dollar. A government weekly update on US oil inventories is on investors' radars today. The record weekly increase is sure to put pressure on oil prices. Today, crude oil is trading with some losses. August WTI futures are trading under $40 a barrel, whereas they climbed over $41 a day ago. Oil prices are weighed down by fears of the second pandemic wave. Investors voice concerns that new restrictive measures will again reduce global demand for energy. Besides, some market participants have locked in profits following the recent rally when they found out about record high inventories in the US. That's all for today. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.